We bought this house behind me for $170,000 and it's quickly becoming TikTok famous.
This is crazy. Every time I check in this place, I got a door that's unlocked and there's actual fire with a kerosene can next to it and under a smoke detector that's dangling. This is insane.
The kerosene is empty.
Dude, come on.
The shit is empty.
What? No, I'm sorry. No, nobody's buying this crap. You got it. You can see. Look at this.
You can definitely see smoke.
This is where she caused the fire shortly before we bought it. Now, right after the auction, it takes a little bit of time to close on a property. It took a couple months, and a couple of days before the closing happened, she had a fire here where there's a pellet stove.
We've nicknamed this house Firehouse. And why is that? Well, we went to a foreclosure auction. We got an amazing deal, a smoking deal. I can't help myself. These are terrible jokes. You deserve better. I'm gonna workshop some of this stuff. I will get back to you with funnier, less cringy jokes. But for now, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on what everybody's been watching on our live stream, Firehouse. So if you've been watching us only on YouTube and you've been missing our TikTok live streams, you've missed out on what thousands of people have been watching as I've been dealing with this house that we bought at an auction and a former owner that refused to leave even though she almost burned this sucker to the ground. So how this all worked out is we bought this house at auction. The auction was held right at the front lawn of the property in about 2 months prior to us closing on the property. It took 2 months from when we were high bidder to when we became the owner. And during that time, someone started a fire. Now, it definitely was an accident. It was caused by a unsafely hooked up pellet stove inside the home. And it happened 2 days before we finished closing on the property. So even though we bid a high bid of $170,000 on this beautiful little slice of heaven, we still had to go forward with our bid and pay the $170,000 for what is now a house that had partially caught on fire. What's even crazier is even though the foreclosure process, remember, it was a bank foreclosure, basically the homeowner wasn't paying the mortgage for God knows how long, sometimes years, before they get to the auction. Even after the auction, the owner did not vacate the property. And even once they caught it on fire and we became the owners, the owner refused to vacate the property. So the former owner stayed here basically camping in a home that now no longer had utilities. Electricity had to be shut off for safety. The heat's electric, the hot water's electric, appliances obviously are electric. Because the house had no heat, it has running water, and it's Massachusetts in the wintertime, we made sure the water had to be shut off as well to avoid burst pipes and more damage. So that means the former owner, who is essentially squatting in our new property, is basically camping here. And some of the conditions she was causing were insane. In fact, we had to eventually bring in the police when month after month, this went on for almost 2 months, I tried working with her, reasoning with her, giving her money for a storage unit, offering her cash to help her lease up an apartment or get a motel so she could have a warm, safe, not condemned place to live for a couple of months while she lined up a new apartment for herself. We even helped connect her to state resources that'll pay up to $7,000, first, last, security, and some extra for moving into a new place. All of those efforts failed. And what finally was my last straw after 2 months of working with the situation of a squatter living in a condemned property, me trying to work it out the best silver lining way I could for them, I ended up having to call the police. Because at one point I came back to the property where I was meeting her for once again, another time that she claimed she'd be moving out. And I tried the door to the house because she wouldn't answer. The door was ajar. I opened the door and come in, and I see a haze of smoke in the air a little bit. That's not a good sign for somebody that already almost burnt the place down one time. But more importantly, I knew she'd basically been using this one bedroom as a place to kind of set up camp. I opened the door, and what I saw really, at this point, really pissed me off. This was an unattended, like a camp, like an outdoor patio space heater burning kerosene or fuel. And in fact, there was a blue kerosene container right next to it, unattended, in this room with the door shut, a haze of smoke in the air, the door wide open to any Joe Schmo that could walk down the street, but an unattended fire burning in a property that already had a fire at the hands of the person responsible for it. So I said, game over, that's it. We have to get the police involved. She has to take this stuff seriously. I've been letting this situation linger way too long. Somebody's going to get injured. So that's how we ended up getting the police involved and out here. I told everybody involved, listen, I don't want to see this former owner, squatter, occupant go back to jail for whatever reason. I don't want to make them, have a harder situation than they need to. But wow, The house has been in really rough shape, really poorly lived in. This is the bedroom now after she's kind of gathered up whatever stuff she wanted to take. But I had to put an end to it because I have to stop somebody from doing something that's going to hurt themselves. Sometimes it seems like you're making and piling on and making it worse for somebody. But I got to tell you, somebody needed to step in and help the situation get fixed. I was able to get her to finally agree to gather up her belongings and leave. She left the property that day under the threat that if you come back, it'll be considered trespassing, and we'll call the police back. I told her I'd still be willing to give her the money I had promised her and offered her 2 months earlier if she moved out later that week, 2 months ago. I said she was very upset. She didn't want to hear it, but I did, of course, live up to my word. So I still gave her a bunch of money once she was able to get her stuff, signed off on a piece of paper saying she's done with the property, she's gathered anything she wants, anything left behind is considered trash, and she won't come back to the property. And we could finally move on. We're going to get this place fixed up and on track. But for right now, let's explore a little bit for those of you that have been missing out on the crazy stuff that we've been seeing around this place. All right, so right over here is where they had a pellet stove. Now the pellet stove magically disappeared from the property, but that's okay. The more stuff that they would take with them, the happier I'd be because the less stuff we have to throw away. But you could clearly see it burned right through the side of the house. I think what had happened was the stove was right here, it was vented through, and I think sparks or something shot out, ignited on the outside of the house, and it actually burned in, including burning her Lexus that was parked right up here on the outside of the property, right up against the side of the house. It caused a decent amount of damage, obviously caused some electrical, and because this is something from what I understand she was already warned about as a safety issue previously, the city was none too happy with this happening here, and of course told her that she couldn't keep staying at the home. She needed to have the electricity was cut off. That, as you can see, this house has electric heat, rendered the home to have no heat. So she can't live in a place that has no heat, no hot water, no electricity. It's considered condemned or condemnable. So with all that being said, let's take a look around the house and I'll show you some of the things that the people that were watching this property on live stream by the thousands were so excited to see. First of all, obviously everybody loves all that drama and all that craziness that was going on. But second, everybody loves a good comeback story, and that's what this house is going to get, is a great second act. This whole kitchen is going to get spruced up something fierce. The flooring has to completely be redone. This has been water soaked a number of times, so I think you're going to see a nice redone flooring, nice updated counters and cabinets. These are very old, very cheap cabinetry, so I'm sure you'll see granite countertops kicked back all in here, update the dishwasher. This is going to be basically a whole new kitchen. We budgeted for that as part of our bidding strategy. None of that's changed, even as a result of the fire and having to deal with the squatter situation. And let me show you one of the fun things that everybody loved to see on live stream. For some reason, everybody wants me to open the fridge, right? And you know that for those of you that have been watching, it's a rookie mistake. You never do that. But because I've already opened it before, I'm going to do it one more time. This is one of the funnier things that people love to see when we open the fridge. For some reason, there's nothing in here, no food products whatsoever, but she did have a chilled hairbrush. And all I can assume is, ladies, is that a thing? Is a chilled hairbrush going to make your hair silkier and smoother? Is it mainly, maybe you go to get a midnight snack and you don't want to go back to bed with bedhead, so you have that ready and conveniently available right in the top shelf. I don't know, maybe Matt knows better. He knows all the hairdressing tips. We'll leave that to the expert. There's the bathroom. Now, kitchens and bathrooms, big part of renovation and remodeling. I don't know if this is something we want to show you on YouTube. Somebody left the toilet up. That's the hard part. Somebody left the toilet open. This place hasn't had running water in months. Oh, the eyes, it burns. It stings the eyes. It does. We're moving on. We're moving on. Let's go take a look at the upstairs and some of the work that we can do there to make this upstairs come to life. Every single door in this whole house has either been punched or kicked. And in fact, the door to this bedroom is just laying on the floor in multiple pieces. This is basically how we found it. This is more or less how it was lived in. The place has seen better days. The skylights on the house have all seemed to show some signs of leaking, which is not unusual. So that's something we'll need to address. But the upstairs could be a pretty nice place. It's oddly set up, but I think we would turn this into 2 real bedrooms, giving you pretty good flexibility for the place and making it a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, single-family house. I feel like we would have to frame in some kind of a door here because as you come up the stairs, you just enter this bedroom and then you have another bedroom here. So I think we'd have to make this kind of a hallway. This bedroom here, like I said, the door is missing. but we found it pretty quickly. It's multiple pieces over here. Not a bad room. Should turn over pretty quickly, but this whole thing is carpeted, rip up all the carpet, all new flooring. We're pretty psyched. I think when you see this process moving forward, you're gonna be really, really blown away by how quick and how much of a difference some simple things will make in this house. So if you wanna see the transformation of this home, Firehouse, into somebody's nice new home, make sure you stick around and watch the rest of our videos. Keep an eye on our channel for the new version of this, the update to this coming up, because I can't wait to share some updates with you for this. So many people have been watching this and ask me every time they see me live, you know, what's the update? What's going on with Firehouse? I really, really appreciate having an awesome community of people that are super interested, but also, you know, are super involved in wanting to learn how you can do this kind of stuff yourself. And if you want to learn from our experience of going to thousands of auctions and buying hundreds of homes like this one, like Firehouse, and all of your other favorites, make sure you pick up a copy of our book, Foreclosures Unlocked.